When your life has structure, success has no escape, because structure is not about restriction, it is about direction. Most people think freedom means waking up whenever you want, doing whatever you feel, chasing motivation like it owes you something. But real freedom is knowing exactly what you must do, when you must do it, and doing it even when every part of you wants to quit. Structure is the silent force that carries you forward on the days when inspiration is missing, when confidence feels low, when nobody is clapping for you. It is the bridge between the life you are living and the life you keep dreaming about but haven't yet touched. Without structure, talent wanders. Without structure, ambition leaks. Without structure, even the strongest intentions slowly fade into excuses. Look at your life honestly, not emotionally, not defensively, but honestly. Your results are not random. They are organized. They are perfectly designed by the way you structure your days, your habits, your priorities, and your standards. If your life feels chaotic, it is not because you are unlucky. It is because chaos has been allowed to lead. If progress feels slow, it is not because success is avoiding you. It is because structure has not yet been invited in. Success does not run away from disciplined people. It hides from the disorganized. It avoids the inconsistent. It escapes those who live only by moods and feelings. Structure is waking up with a purpose instead of a question mark. It is deciding the night before what the morning will look like. It is giving your energy an assignment instead of letting it scatter. When your life has structure, you no longer negotiate with yourself every day. You already decided. You already committed. You already mapped the path. That is why structured people look calm under pressure. They are not guessing, they are executing, they are not hoping today will be productive. They already planned for it to be productive. Most people wait to feel ready. Structured people move even when they feel unprepared. Most people wait for motivation. Structured people rely on routine. Most people start strong and fade fast. Structured people start steady and last long. This is why success has no escape when structure is present. There is no gap for failure to sneak in. There is no empty space for excuses to grow. There is no room for procrastination to make itself comfortable. Think about how many times you told yourself tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow I will wake up early. Tomorrow I will focus. Tomorrow I will change. Tomorrow I will get serious. Tomorrow comes and goes, not because you are weak, but because tomorrow without structure looks exactly like yesterday. Hope without a system is just wishful thinking. Dreams without daily order are just entertainment for the mind. Structure turns imagination into implementation. When your life has structure, you stop wasting time asking, what should I do next? You already know. When your life has structure, you stop being overwhelmed by everything you want to achieve because you break it down into what must be done today. Not everything, just today. That is how big goals are conquered. Not in dramatic leaps, but in disciplined steps that look boring to everyone else, but life-changing to you. Structure teaches you self-respect. It teaches you to keep promises to yourself. And every time you keep a small promise, your confidence grows quietly. You start trusting yourself again. You start believing that when you say you will do something, it will get done. That trust becomes power. That power becomes momentum. That momentum becomes success that can no longer be escaped. People admire motivation, but motivation is emotional. Structure is dependable. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Structure is the climate you live in. You do not build a future based on how you feel today. You build it based on what you repeatedly do regardless of how you feel. Structure does not ask if you are tired. It asks if the task is done. It does not care about excuses. It cares about execution. When your life has structure, distractions lose their grip on you. You no longer chase every notification, every opinion, every trend. You become selective with your time, your energy, your attention. You understand that everything you say yes to is costing you something else. Structure helps you say no without guilt because you know exactly what you are protecting: your goals, your growth, your future. Structure also reveals truth. It shows you where you are disciplined and where you are not. It exposes weak habits without judgment. It does not shame you, it shows you. And once you see clearly, you can no longer lie to yourself. That clarity is uncomfortable, but it is powerful because once you know what is broken, you can fix it. Once you know what is missing, you can build it. Many people want success to feel exciting, but structure teaches you to fall in love with consistency, not excitement, with repetition, not novelty, with progress, not applause. When you live this way, success becomes inevitable, not overnight, not magically, but unavoidably, because every day you are stacking small wins. Every day you are showing up. Every day you are tightening the gap between who you are and who you are becoming. When your life has structure, failure becomes feedback, not a stop sign. You review, adjust, and continue. You do not quit because quitting is not in the schedule. You do not drift because drifting is not part of the system. You do not panic because you trust the process you are following. Structure gives you stability when emotions shake you. It gives you direction when confusion clouds you. You start realizing that success was never about working harder. It was about working with intention. It was about placing the right actions in the right order and repeating them long enough for results to show. Structure removes guesswork. It removes chaos. It removes unnecessary struggle. It replaces it with focus, clarity, and controlled effort. When your life has structure, mornings become powerful, evenings become reflective, days stop slipping away unnoticed. Time becomes a tool instead of an enemy. You stop asking, where did the day go? Because you told the day where to go. That is the shift. That is the difference. That is the reason success can no longer escape. Because success does not outrun speed. It outruns confusion. It does not hide from effort. It hides from inconsistency. It does not avoid talent. It avoids disorder. Once your life is structured, you corner success. You meet it every day in your habits. You confront it in your discipline. You invite it through your standards. And the most powerful part is this: structure does not require perfection. It requires commitment. You will miss days. You will stumble. You will fall behind. But structure teaches you how to return quickly instead of quitting completely. It gives you a framework to come back to. A baseline, a rhythm, a system that waits for you even when you drift for a moment. As structure becomes your lifestyle, you start noticing a quiet confidence growing inside you. You are no longer rushed. You are no longer reactive. You are intentional. You are proactive. You are grounded. People will ask you how you stay so focused, how you stay so consistent, how you keep moving forward when others stop. And the truth is simple but not easy. Your life has structure, and because of that, success has fewer places to hide. You begin to understand that structure is not something you do once. It is something you live. It is built in how you start your day, how you manage your energy, how you choose your priorities, how you protect your time, how you respond to challenges. It becomes part of your identity. And when structure becomes identity, discipline becomes natural. This is where everything starts to shift. Opportunities start aligning. Progress starts compounding. Confidence starts solidifying. Not because luck changed, but because your foundation did. When your life has structure, you are no longer waiting for the perfect moment. You are creating momentum. You are no longer chasing success. You are building a path so clear, so consistent, so focused that success eventually has no choice but to walk straight into the life you have deliberately designed day after day, habit after habit, decision after decision, even on the days when it feels quiet, even on the days when it feels slow, even on the days when nothing seems to be changing, because beneath the surface, structure is working, shaping, strengthening, and positioning you for the moment when all those disciplined days begin to connect. And the life you once imagined starts to recognize you as someone it can no longer ignore, someone it can no longer avoid, someone whose structure has become so strong that success finds fewer and fewer exits, fewer excuses, fewer ways to slip and instead finds itself being pulled closer step by step, routine by routine, standard by standard, as you continue to move forward with intention, with order, with purpose, knowing that this path you are walking is not random. It is designed, and every designed life eventually leads to designed results. As long as you keep showing up, keep aligning your actions, keep honoring the structure you have chosen, because the moment you do, the escape routes close, the distance shrinks, and success begins to realize that staying away is no longer an option. Not when your life is built this deliberately, not when your days are organized with this level of commitment, not when your mindset is anchored in this kind of disciplined momentum, and so it circles closer, watching your consistency, testing your patience, waiting to see if you will break the structure you have built, or if you will continue to stand inside it, reinforcing it, strengthening it, trusting it, knowing that every single day you live this way, you are tightening the net, narrowing the gap, and silently moving into a position where the results you once chased begin to move toward you, slowly at first, almost unnoticed, but steadily, predictably, because structure always wins in the end. And as long as you keep honoring it, keep respecting it, keep living by it, the story you are writing is still unfolding, still building, still moving forward. And the next step you take, the next routine you follow, the next disciplined choice you make continues to carry you deeper into a life where success feels closer than it ever has, closer than it ever seemed possible. As you remain locked into the rhythm you have created, refusing to drift, refusing to quit, refusing to abandon the order that is shaping who you are becoming, knowing that this is not the end of the journey, but a moment within it, a moment where momentum is still growing, still stacking, still pressing forward, and the path ahead continues to open as you walk it with structure guiding every step. And as you keep walking this path, you start to realize something powerful, something most people never stop long enough to notice. That structure is not just organizing your time, it is organizing your mind. When your mind knows what comes next, it stops panicking. When your mind trusts the plan, it stops resisting the process. Anxiety fades when clarity enters. Doubt weakens when direction becomes clear. This is why structured lives feel calmer even when they are busy, because chaos is not about activity, it is about uncertainty. Structure removes uncertainty, it replaces it with order, and order creates confidence. You no longer wake up asking yourself who you need to be today. You already decided. You no longer waste energy switching between roles, moods, and identities. Structure stabilizes you, it grounds you, it gives you a fixed point to return to when emotions try to pull you off course. And emotions will try. There will be days when you feel unstoppable and days when you feel invisible. Structure treats both days the same. It does not get excited with you, and it does not get discouraged with you. It simply keeps moving. This is how momentum is built, not through emotional highs, but through consistent motion. Motion does not need applause. Motion needs commitment. Structure makes motion automatic. You do not debate whether to move forward, you just move. And that movement compounds. Small actions repeated daily create results that look impossible to those who only act when they feel inspired. As your structure deepens, your standards rise. You start noticing things you once tolerated now feel unacceptable. Disorganization feels uncomfortable. Wasted time feels expensive. Half effort feels dishonest. Die. It's not because you became harsh, but because you became clear. Structure sharpens your awareness. It shows you the cost of drifting, and once you see that cost, you can never unsee it. People around you may not understand this shift. They may call you rigid. They may say you are doing too much. They may accuse you of changing, and they are right. You are changing. You are no longer available for disorder. You are no longer compatible with chaos. You are no longer interested in living a life where potential stays locked behind excuses. Structure changes what you tolerate, and what you tolerate determines what you experience. When your life has structure, patience becomes easier. You stop rushing results because you trust the process. You stop comparing timelines because you are too busy executing your own plan. You understand that growth is not loud, it is layered. It is built quietly day after day, repetition after repetition, until one day it becomes visible and people think it happened suddenly, not knowing how long you were working in silence. Structure also teaches humility. It reminds you that progress is earned daily, not claimed once. You do not rely on past wins. You respect the work required today. Yesterday's discipline does not excuse today's laziness. Structure keeps you honest. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you accountable to the version of yourself you are trying to become. As time goes on, you start noticing how structure protects you during hard seasons, when motivation disappears, when life hits unexpectedly, when setbacks test your resolve. Structure becomes your anchor. You do not have to think your way through pain. You move through it using the habits you already built. You continue because stopping is not part of the system. This is where resilience is born, not in moments of comfort, but in moments where routine carries you forward, but emotions cannot. Success watches these moments closely. It watches how you behave when nobody is watching. It watches what you do when results are delayed. It watches whether your discipline depends on reward or on identity. And every time you show up anyway, every time you execute without applause, every time you follow the structure even, when it feels pointless, you close another exit door. You limit another escape route. You make it harder for success to avoid you. Structure forces alignment. Your actions begin to match your words. Your habits begin to reflect your goals. Your days begin to support your dreams instead of sabotaging them. This alignment creates integrity, and integrity creates power. There is a strength that comes from knowing your life is not divided, that you are not saying one thing and doing another, that your intentions and actions are moving in the same direction. With structure, you stop living reactively. You stop letting circumstances dictate your behavior. You stop handing control of your life to distractions, drama, or delay. You become intentional. You decide in advance how you will respond. This removes emotional decision-making, and emotional decision-making is where most people lose momentum. You begin to see time differently. You stop underestimating what a year of disciplined effort can do. You stop overestimating what a burst of motivation can accomplish. Structure teaches you the math of progress. It teaches you that consistency, always outperforms intensity. It teaches you that sustainable effort beats dramatic effort every time. As structure becomes stronger, self-doubt becomes quieter. Not because it disappears, but because it loses authority. Doubt can talk, but it no longer decides. The system decides. The routine decides. The plan decides. You execute even while doubt whispers, because execution is no longer a question. It is a rule. This is where identity begins to shift. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to be disciplined. You see yourself as someone who lives with discipline. You no longer say you are working towards structure. You live inside it. And identity-based structure is powerful because it does not require constant motivation. It is simply who you are. When your life has structure, energy flows more efficiently. You stop burning energy on indecision. You stop draining yourself with mental clutter. You focus on what matters. You rest with intention. You work with purpose. Even rest becomes productive because it is planned, not accidental. And slowly, very slowly, your environment starts responding to you differently. People trust you more. Opportunities find you more often. Doors open without you forcing them, not because the world changed, but because you did. Structured people are predictable in the best way. They show up, they deliver, they follow through, and reliability attracts responsibility. You start receiving more because you are capable of handling more. Structure expands your capacity. It strengthens your ability to manage pressure, responsibility, and growth. Without structure, success overwhelms. With structure, success integrates. There's also a quiet joy in structure, a satisfaction that comes from knowing you honored your day, that you did what you said you would do, that you respected your time. This joy is not loud, but it is stable. It does not depend on outcomes. It comes from alignment. As days turn into weeks and weeks into months, you may forget how unstructured life once felt. You may forget the stress, the rush, the confusion, and that is when you must stay vigilant, because structure is maintained, not achieved. It is a practice. It is a choice you renew daily. Success does not test you once. It tests you repeatedly. It tests whether you will stay disciplined when things get easier, whether you will maintain structure when pressure decreases, whether you will protect order when comfort increases. Many people lose momentum here, not in hardship, but in ease. Structure keeps you steady. It reminds you that consistency is not seasonal, that discipline does not retire, that progress does not sustain itself. You remain intentional even when things are going well, especially when things are going well. When your life has structure, you do not fear the future. You prepare for it. You do not hope things work out. You work things out. You do not wait for clarity. You create it. Structure turns uncertainty into a series of manageable steps. This is how success becomes unavoidable, not through force, not through luck, not through shortcuts, but through daily order, through a life that is intentionally designed instead of emotionally driven, through habits that are chosen, protected, and repeated. You begin to feel the distance closing. The goals that once felt far start feeling reachable. The version of yourself you imagine starts feeling familiar, not because the journey is over, but because the path is now visible. And as you continue forward, honoring the structure you have built, strengthening it with each disciplined choice, refining it with each lesson learned, the rhythm continues, the momentum grows, the alignment deepens, and the life you are shaping keeps moving forward, step by step, action by action, routine by routine, with success finding fewer places to hide, fewer reasons to delay, fewer chances to escape, as you remain grounded in the order you have chosen, steady in the process you trust, and committed to the structure that is still unfolding, still building, still carrying you forward into what comes next. And what happens next is subtle, almost invisible at first, but undeniable over time, because structure begins to rewire how you see yourself in moments of pressure. Where you once reacted, you now respond. Where you once rushed, you now move with precision. Where you once felt scattered, you now feel centered. This shift does not announce itself. It simply shows up in your behavior, in the calm decisions you make when others panic, in the steady pace you maintain when others burn out, in the way you keep going without needing constant reassurance. Structure teaches you emotional maturity. It trains you to separate how you feel from what must be done. Feelings become information, not instructions. You acknowledge them, but you do not obey them blindly. This is where personal power is forged, not in denying emotion, but in not being ruled by it. When your life has structure, emotions no longer hijack your direction. They ride in the back seat, not behind the wheel. You begin to notice that clarity replaces noise. You stop overthinking because there is less to think about. The decision has already been made. The task has already been defined. The standard has already been set. This simplicity is not accidental, it is designed. Structure simplifies life by removing unnecessary choices, and every removed choice frees energy for what truly matters. As you live this way, time stretches in your favor, not because you have more of it, but because you waste less of it. You are no longer constantly recovering from yesterday's disorder. You are building on yesterday's progress. This continuity creates flow, and flow accelerates growth. You start trusting the process even when outcomes are delayed. You understand that results lag behind discipline. You stop demanding immediate proof. You stop needing validation. You keep showing up because showing up is who you are now. This is where consistency becomes quiet confidence. Structure also sharpens your focus. You stop multitasking your dreams. You stop trying to be everything at once. You prioritize, you sequence, you build in layers. You understand that focus is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters repeatedly with intention. People often underestimate how powerful this is because it looks ordinary from the outside. There is no drama in structure. There is no spectacle. There is just repetition. But repetition is where mastery lives. Repetition is where progress compounds. Repetition is where success quietly takes shape. When your life has structure, setbacks lose their sting. They still hurt, but they no longer derail you. You assess, you adjust, you continue. You do not collapse because collapse is not part of the system. You do not spiral because structure gives you something solid to stand on. This is why structure builds mental toughness. It conditions you to move forward even when comfort disappears. It trains you to trust action over emotion. It builds resilience not by making life easier, but by making you stronger. You begin to realize that structure is not limiting your creativity, it is protecting it. By handling the basics, structure frees your mind to think, to innovate, to grow. Chaos drains creativity, order fuels it. When your foundation is stable, your mind is free to expand. As your days become more organized, your confidence becomes less fragile. It is no longer dependent on outcomes. It is rooted in effort. You know that regardless of what happens today, you honored your process. And that knowledge is grounding. Structure also teaches you patience with yourself. You stop expecting perfection. You expect progress. You stop criticizing missteps. You correct them. You treat growth as a long-term practice, not a short-term performance. When your life has structure, your self-talk changes. You stop asking, can I do T? Is and start asking, how do I do this? You stop doubting your capacity and start refining your approach. This shift in language reflects a deeper shift in mindset from uncertainty to ownership. You also become more present because your mind is not constantly racing ahead or replaying the past. You know what needs to be done today and you are doing it. That presence brings calm. That calm brings clarity. As the rhythm continues, you begin to feel aligned with yourself. Not perfect, not flawless, but aligned. Your actions make sense. Your days have direction. Your effort feels purposeful. This alignment reduces internal friction, and less friction means more momentum. You stop living in extremes. You stop sprinting and crashing. You stop all or nothing thinking. Structure teaches moderation, sustainability, balance. You learn how to push without breaking, how to rest without quitting, and slowly your reputation begins to change, even if nobody says it out loud. You are seen as reliable, as consistent, as someone who follows through. These qualities attract opportunities that talent alone never could. When your life has structure, you stop needing to prove yourself. Your work speaks quietly but clearly. You stop chasing recognition because you are too focused on execution. And ironically, this is when recognition starts to find you. Structure also deepens your self-respect. You begin to value your time, your energy, your attention. You protect them. You stop giving them away carelessly. You understand that every choice is shaping your future. You become selective, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. You know what aligns with your goals and what distracts from them. You choose accordingly. This selectiveness strengthens your path. As days stack into months, you notice how far you have come, not in dramatic leaps, but in steady steps. You see habits that once felt hard now feel automatic. You see discipline that once required effort now feels natural. This is growth. And yet, structure keeps you humble. It reminds you that momentum must be maintained, that systems must be respected, that progress is reversible if discipline fades. This awareness keeps you sharp. When your life has structure, you stop fearing discipline. You see it as support, not punishment. You see it as freedom, not restriction. Freedom from confusion, freedom from wasted effort, freedom from regret. You realize that structure is not about controlling life. It is about cooperating with it, about working with time instead of against it, about aligning effort with intention. As this understanding deepens, you become more adaptable. Structure does not make you rigid. It gives you a stable base from which to adjust. You can pivot without panicking. You can change course without losing direction. This is where growth accelerates, when stability and flexibility coexist, when discipline and adaptability work together, when structure supports evolution instead of resisting it. You start trusting yourself in new ways. You trust that you will show up, that you will adjust, that you will continue. This trust reduces fear. Fear thrives in uncertainty. Structure reduces uncertainty. When your life has structure, your goals feel less intimidating. You break them down. You assign them time. You integrate them into your routine. Big dreams become manageable because they are no longer abstract. You also develop patience with the process. You stop rushing transformation. You respect the timeline of growth. You understand that depth takes time, that mastery is built slowly. As you move forward, the noise of comparison fades. You stop measuring yourself against others because you are too busy measuring your own consistency. You focus on progress, not position. Structure also helps you navigate success when it arrives. You do not lose yourself in it. You stay grounded. You continue your routines. You protect what got you there. And as this cycle continues, discipline reinforcing confidence, confidence reinforcing discipline, the rhythm becomes stronger, the momentum steadier, the alignment deeper, and the path ahead continues to unfold, not dramatically, not suddenly, but deliberately, predictably. With each structured day reinforcing the next, each intentional choice stacking on the last as you remain committed to the order you have created. The habits you have built, the standards you have set, moving forward with quiet determination, knowing that this process is still in motion, still evolving, still shaping the life you are stepping into. And as long as you stay inside this rhythm, honoring the structure that guides you, the journey continues, the momentum builds, and the space for success to escape continues to narrow, step by step, day by day, as you keep going steady, focused, intentional, carrying this discipline forward into whatever comes next. When your life has structure, you stop chasing success like it is something outside of you, something distant, something uncertain. You realize success was never hiding from your potential. It was waiting for your order, your consistency, your discipline to mature. Structure becomes the language your future understands. It is how you tell life that you are ready, not someday, not when conditions are perfect, but now through your actions, your habits, your standards. And as you stand inside that structure day after day, honoring it even when no one is watching, even when results are few, even when progress feels slow, you begin to see the truth unfold in real time. That success cannot outrun a life lived with intention. It cannot escape a person who shows up consistently. It cannot avoid someone who has organized their days, aligned their actions, and committed to the process. In the end, success does not arrive with noise. It arrives with recognition, recognizing the discipline you practiced, the structure you protected, and the person you became along the way, until the life you once imagined is no longer ahead of you, but beneath your feet, built step by step, choice by a structure strong enough to hold it.